Hi, it's a Lipstick Gal. Thank you so much for watching today. I wanted to share with you my favorite products of 2023. Now, just to make sure we're on the same page, these are products that I tried for the first time this year. These aren't the best products in my collection. Some of them I feel like qualify for that, but these are the ones this year, whether they were new to my collection or a new release, really just, I couldn't stop using them. I just had to keep like over and over reaching and reaching and reaching for them. Here's also where I tell you, I thought I had tried like 377 products. Some things that if I got two of the same thing, I numbered them the same. I keep a list like new products that I tried and it's getting pretty thick, but there are some places in here where I'll have like a whole bunch of things under a number. So it's probably closer to over 400. Let's just say 400 to 410 new products that I tried this year. That's a lot. All right, so it's gonna be a long video. I'm gonna try and get through this quickly. You may want a snack, you may want a beverage, but let's go. I'm gonna start with face products. Oh my goodness, this Bosma foundation, it's what I'm wearing today. Huge, I love this. First of all, she's a stick, so you can just scribble it on. I am wearing shade 38. It's the second lightest shade. It's kind of like a slightly, I mean, it completely disappears. This is more like medium coverage. You will see some light freckling through this, but this wears beautifully all day. It kind of ends up looking like skin the farther you go in through the day and your natural oils come through to the surface. Here's where I want you to know, I am combo oily. I have the oils like right through the T-zone and the rest of my skin is normal. So this sits beautifully across my cheeks, on my nose and chin and forehead. I also find that even though I do have these deep lines, it doesn't really settle in if I set it with powder. Another one, this is not a new formula for me this year, but this shade of the Merit Minimalist, oh my goodness. I needed a different shade. I had the second lightest shade, and this shade here is the lightest shade in Bone. It's the best shade for me. I love this. This is one that I can use under the eyes as concealer. Again, another medium coverage foundation. I just buff it in with a foundation brush and I'm off and running. This never makes me look older. It evens out my skin tone without looking heavy, and that's always what I'm looking for. Now here's one from the drugstore that I had never tried, and then they reformulated and repackaged, and I was like, okay, I'll give you a try. Beautiful, the L'Oreal True Match. All right, this is the lightest neutral shade they make. I love the pump on here. I love everything about this. You can get like little tiny measured pumps. And this shade here is actually really good for me. It's so lovely. This is another one of those where I feel like not only is the coverage good, it's a good medium to buildable coverage. It looks like skin, it's not matte, it's not super glowy, and that's usually what I'm looking for. As somebody who's coming up on their 49th birthday, I do have texture, I do have crow's feet, I do have expression lines, and I want something that's not going to draw attention to those, but is gonna give me an overall perfected look. This is beautiful, and at the drugstore is a wonderful option. Now, if you like a slightly lighter coverage, the one that I discovered this year that really blew my socks off and I used so much is this. This is not new, but this was new to my collection. This is the Givenchy Prism Liebe Skincare Glowing Foundation. I have the shade N95. This is the sort of lightweight, just a little bit, hardly anything. This is definitely a more radiant foundation, but it's not so radiant that you end up looking greasy. I never had that problem. It's lighter weight than the L'Oreal. It's lighter weight than both the stick foundations. This is more kind of light to light medium. And this is one of those, like when I feel like I'm having a really good skin day and I don't want to look like I'm wearing makeup, but I want just a little bit of perfection. That is beautiful. One thing to keep in mind though, it is scented. It has one of those luxury heavy fragrances to it. Just keep that in mind. Last one. And I know this one's controversial because this is some people's worst of the year, I'm sure. It's the Glossier foundation. So this is the Stretch Fluid Foundation. This is the shade L2, which is light 2. It's a little on the lightish side, but once I start to blend it in, you really can't tell where it is. I like this. This tends to be, first of all, it's kind of like a thicker formula, and that normally doesn't bode well for me. But what I like about this is when I take the time to blend it in, This for me does better with a sponge. I know they came out with a special Glossier Stretch Fluid Foundation brush. Every time I use a brush with this, I get brush marks. But when I use it either with my fingers and then finish it with a sponge, I get the most beautiful, radiant, glowy dew, and it gives just a little bit of coverage, but it's not too much. And halfway through the day, when my natural oils start coming up in my T-zone, it just looks even better. This is one that on me wears better as the day goes on. I do need to set it. I like it best with the Glossier Powder, and I'm sure they formulated it to work well with their own setting powder. But I've always liked the Glossier Powder because it looks like almost nothing. But any really lightweight, finely milled powder, pressed or loose, is going to be great with this. And it gives me just a little bit of perfection. None of these are high coverage, and that's always what I'm looking for. Something that leans a little bit more skin-like, something with more of a natural finish, that's not matte, that's not too glowy, but there are some great options here. All right, for concealer, there were 3 that blew my socks off. This was new for this year, again from Givenchy. This is the Prism Lead concealer. Here's the one thing that's interesting. I have the same shade in the concealer as I do in the foundation, and the shades are not the same. This is a little bit darker. Let me give you just a little swatch here of the concealer. And I feel like they do oxidize a little bit, but do you see how this one's a little peachier? This one's a little bit more, I don't know, it looks like it has a slight yellow lean to it. But when this one oxidizes, I feel like I probably would do better if I was using this concealer here, either all over the face with nothing else, or to get a slightly lighter color that would better blend with this. When I use them together, I don't always get like the best. I feel like my under eyes are not quite there. But what I like about this is because I do have that crepiness, this doesn't settle in there if I set it lightly. It looks good. This gives me that medium coverage when I'm not going for like a full like beat. If I want to look like myself but just slightly perfected, this is great. And this also does great all over the face. If you were just like to pull it out once and kind of swipe it everywhere and blend it in as foundation, this is also beautiful that way. Another one that came out this year that just blew my socks off and I didn't try until this fall is the High Glam Concealer from Natasha Denona. I have the shade N1. Oh my goodness, I'm wearing this today in a couple of places. This is so beautiful. So I find this to be creamy. I find it to be hydrating. I find it to settle well underneath my eyes. It has a little bit of a self-setting quality to it, but I definitely, especially where I have the lines underneath my eyes, this needs powder. But this is one of those that when I get just the right amount of powder in just the right place, this brings really great. I would say this is medium full to buildable. Like you can get a lot more out of this, but it never ends up looking like crazy. I never end up feeling like I have too much under there, where I get just the right amount of coverage. I think that's important, and it never makes me look dry. The other one that I loved this year is this one from Tower 28. This is their Swipe On Serum Concealer. Oh my goodness. This here I have in the shade BU. Out of all of them, I feel like this one is just slightly more neutral, or maybe even slightly like a gray undertone. This one is great, but this one, okay, this one is definitely glowy. So if you have dry under eyes, you might like this better than some of the other ones, but this is one that is really affordable. One thing that's great about the Givenchy, you're getting almost twice as much product in here as you would in something like this. So when you're paying the high 30s, low 40s for this, you're getting a ton of product in here. This is in the $20 range. This is great, like what, $22, $24. And this also works beautiful all over the face if you're looking to not use foundation, just kind of put it on where you need it and blend it in. It's fantastic, but because it is so hydrating, I absolutely must set it with powder or it starts to migrate on me. So if I have it on under here, if I don't set it with powder, it ends up finding all of those fine lines. If I have any of it on my forehead, it will migrate into my crinkles here, into the corners of my mouth. So just keep in mind, although it is hydrating and it feels good and it's very lightweight feeling on the skin while giving a beautiful medium coverage, you need to set it with powder. Now for powder this year, okay, I discovered this. This is not new, but this is new to me this year. This Prism Lead powder from Givenchy. I got the lightest shade. This is Pastel Mousseline. It has a pale blue, a pale green, a pale lavender, and a white shade in here. It is so finely milled. It's like every time I open it, it's like there's a little of powder that comes up. But it is the best for under eyes, for setting the face lightly while not looking like you're wearing powder. There are times that I'm putting a powder on, I'm like, I can tell I just powdered. And I feel like if I don't hit it with a setting spray, I'm gonna look like a slightly, like a powdered sugar donut, which is not what I'm wanting. But then I picked this up. This is the same powder in a mini size, but this one is shade number 1, and I love this and I'm gonna finish it. But this has my heart now, and I have been using this nonstop. I'm gonna burn through it. This is shade number 3, Voile Rosé. So this is one that has kind of one flesh tone and some light pink tones in there. And it is so brightening, but it's the texture of it. It's whisper soft. I'm trying to remind myself that I could use this everywhere and use this just under the eyes for brightening, but I start dipping it in and it looks so good, I just keep putting it everywhere. All right, so this pink powder led me to try something else that I really like. This is the One Size Ultimate Setting Powder. This is the pink shade. Okay, this is a little bit more pink in tone than the one from, it's definitely a little bit pinkier. It has more of that pale pink tone to it than the one from Givenchy. Givenchy looks a little bit like it has a slight pink tinge to it, but it's mostly like skin toned. And it, especially on my fair skin, it doesn't look heavy or pink. This, if I put on just a little too much, she looks a little pink, but this is great under the eyes. Now, the one thing that I was worried about was, would this powder be too heavy? Especially for my nearly 49-year-old eyes. For me, it all comes down to how much I use. And if I want to use it with a powder puff, I have to put some in the puff, and then I have to take the puff and kind of like scrub it in there and make sure that I don't have powder visibly sitting on the surface, and then I can go in and press it under the eyes. Or if I'm taking a brush, I'll pick some up and then I'll swirl some in my hand just to make sure and knock it off that I don't have any extra, and then I'll go like this, because the minute I go boop, boop, too much. Too much, too much. And that's when it starts to make my under eyes look dry. But if you want a little bit, I feel like a lot of it is just controlling the amount of product you're putting on. But this is nice. And when this sets, like my under eye concealer does not move. All day, it's perfect. Love this stuff. 2023 was the year of like cheeks and lips for me. I bought so many cheek products. Blush especially, but I did fall kind of head over heels for 3 bronzers. I tried more than that. I tried quite a few bronzers this year, but these were the 3 that I couldn't stop reaching for. When I was thinking about this list, I'm like, what did I just over again go for, reach for? My hand just kind of automatically went to it. This is one of them. This was new this year. Pat McGrath finally released a bronzer, and this is my perfect shade. Normally I go for the lightest shade in the lineup, and I feel like the lightest shade was a little yellow leaning, and I don't prefer that in a bronzer. So this is the second lightest shade. This one's called Nude Honey, and she's perfect. This has a really beautiful formula. If you've ever tried Pat's powder blushes, I think they're great. They have a very similar formula to this. It's endlessly blendable. It is so beautiful, and it doesn't end up looking too orange. It doesn't end up looking too heavy. It is fantastic. The other bronzer that I was like, it can't be that good. It's so expensive. There's no way it's going to knock my socks off. And I have reached for it so much this year. I want to just like kick myself for not trying it when it first came out. This is the Gucci bronzer. Okay, she's stunning. This is the lightest shade. What's great about this is that it has a slight, almost kind of rosy tone to it. There are times that I wear just this. You can see this one's a little bit, I wiped a lot of it off, but this one has just a slight pinkiness to it. And I think that's what makes this work so well for my fair skin. Also 10 out of 10 for packaging. Like, it's a joy. And this is the only like luxury product that comes in a velvet pouch that I keep in the velvet pouch. And I know that's silly, but I want it to stay lovely. It brings me joy every time I pull it out. Oh my goodness, such a great powder. Now the other one that I fell in love with, I got during the fall Sephora savings event, and it has completely like taken over my life. It's from Makeup by Mario, and this is the Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. Lightest shade. I'm wearing this today. This already has a divot in it. It is the creamiest, most beautiful, like hardly there product. If you have fair skin and you want a little bit of a bronze and you don't want it to look too heavy, oh, this stuff is dreamy, dreamy, dreamy. It's a little warmer than the one from Gucci, but it is so fantastic. It is whisper sheer. It is buildable, but I like how it starts out and you start to blend it and like, you know, you're blending, boop, boop, boop. It's like, wait, it's not the where did it go? It's like, where are the lines from where I placed it? It's like blended like that. Love. Let's talk about a highlight before I get into the blush. There's a lot more blush. All right, this is one that I got in the early fall. It came in September and I was like, and it's what I'm wearing today. And I was like, I don't know. I don't like it because you have to mix it. Oh my goodness. It's $75 for the set. It comes with a brush, with a clear gloss shine, and this kind of pigment. I got the one in light pink, so it's this beautiful pink shade. Let me tell you, this stuff is nuts. So you put a drop of this clear serum in here, you mix it up, and this is what it ends up looking like. And the glow on this is absolutely stunning. Look at this. What I like about this is that because it does have that clear gloss, I've already mixed the two together, it does have that in there. It is a perfect shade for me, but I love that I get that really intense, almost glass-like sheen, but it doesn't make my skin look textured. It doesn't make it look older. It actually just makes it look juicy and delicious. Now, somebody may go, as an almost 50-year-old, why are you wearing highlight that shiny? Because I like shiny things. I do, and I think it is so pretty. So yeah, it's kind of a pain to mix, but when I started thinking about what was my hand reaching for, I don't do it every day, but I do it more than I thought I would because I don't normally like to mix products, but this is fantastic. Everybody was gaga for these. These were sold out. Did they launch in December or January? I just remember having the hardest time getting these. These are the Rare Beauty highlights. I have two of them. I have the two lightest shades, but it's this pink shade here in Mesmerize. It is, look at that. It is so beautiful. This is one though, because I do have, you know, crow's feet texture, a little bit of orange peel texture going on here that I put on very strategically, like just here, and then I blend it. And sometimes I feel like if it's calling too much attention to the texture I don't want, I go over it with a finishing powder, like an Hourglass powder. But I mean, come on. How could you not love this? These were worth the hype this year. These were so good. Now here's one that does not bring texture to my face, that is kind of new to my collection. But again, this fall, I can't stop reaching for it. It's from RMS. This is the Redimension Hydra Dew Luminizer. They only have one shade. This is it. This is called Prosecco Fizz. So this is the sort of highlight that I was like, wait, what? No, this doesn't bring any sort of attention to texture. It's, I feel, just as glowy, but it's not quite as metallic. And that's why I love it, because this is a powder that doesn't look like a powder when you put it on. Oh my goodness, this stuff makes me so happy. I was sure that I was getting into the point where I needed to reach for more like creams and liquid highlights, that I was moving out of my powder phase of highlight, because like this can be a little frosty if I'm not careful. This isn't, but when you put it on the face, it looks even more intense than it does here. It ends up looking like wet skin and it is thrilling. Oh, love this stuff. I did a whole video this year where I was trying stuff from Ritual to Fee, and I finally picked up one of their highlights. This one is the Rare Light Cream Luminizer in Phosphines. Okay, so pretty. This is fantastic because this is one of those that is a cream, so it has a little bit of moisture to impart, and it ends up, it's right here, it ends up not drawing attention to my texture. See how frosty this is? This doesn't, but it's so pretty. So pretty. This shade in Phosphines is beautiful. I do want to try one of the other ones, but I bought so much this year, I was like, let's just stick with what we have. These were the 4 highlights that I just, like I reached for all year long. There's a lot of blush here. I'm sorry. I'm also not sorry. I fell head over heels for blush. I feel like last year and this year was like the year of cheeks. We were seeing a ton blush. It was a ton. So the first one I feel like that really made me sit up and take attention. I picked this up, I think one of them just before the Sephora spring event and one during the Sephora spring event, were these new ones from Danessa Myrick. These are the Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powders. These are fantastic. These are the same texture as the Blurring Balm Powder that Danessa has, that are for like skin tones, But this one here is beautiful. This is Rosé and Brunch. Oh my goodness. These are matte. They leave no texture behind. They do not accentuate. They kind of make my texture look a little bit less. This is one that I bought because the color made me happy, but I'll tell you, it's a little too intense. This one right here is called Golden Hour. So I have to very carefully wear Golden Hour. I feel like it's probably meant for someone with a richer skin tone than me. And I love that Danessa has so many beautiful shades, but this is the first one that I got and I liked it so much I got this one. But in the end, the one that I reach for the most is the one that's a little bit less pigmented and it looks a little bit more kind of, you know, like this pinky shade. Stunning. I discovered something that was released last year, but they came out with new shades this year. And they are the Redimension Hydra Blushes from RMS. All right, so I was so curious about these last year, and when I finally placed an order from RMS this spring, I was like, okay, I get it. This is the one that I fell head over heels for. This one's called Maiden's Blush. This is so pretty. They have a slight luminosity to them. They're remarkable. This one here is Pomegranate Fizz. So pretty. And then this fall, they came out with new shades. So I picked this one up. This one here is called Crystal Slipper, and it's a slightly like desaturated version. See how it's a little bit not quite as intense as this? It's everything I want in a blush. So on the days that I don't have time for bronzer and highlight and I want some color in my cheeks, I'll reach for one of these because they have a little bit of glow. I can sculpt the cheek a little bit with these. These are fabulous. I also fell in love with, and this is a really interesting shade for me. This is from Ritual Defeat. This is the Inner Glow Pigment, Cream Pigment, and this is the shade Desire. So what is fantastic, I think it's this shade, but I also love the cream formula. I have one of the Color Nectar Pigment Balms, but this is so great because it is such a cool tone. And it looks kind of gray and slightly kind of like eggplanty leaning here. But what's great about this is that when you start to blend it out, look at this color. This is what I want. This is the blush that saves me every time I have a cool eyeshadow on something that's slightly plummy or purple leaning, like the new Vespertine from Viseart. And I'm like, what blush do I wear? I wear this. I could be wearing the Hazy palette from Sigma. What blush do I wear? I wear this. Anytime I've got kind of like a silver eyeshadow on and I don't want like a warm bronzy blush, I tend to go for kind of like warmer tones in my blushes, but I reach for this. This just saves the day, but also because it's cream, it feels very, very silky, very smooth. It blends with no effort and it looks beautiful. Sometimes there are some cream products that don't last. This one lasts really, really well, and I need the smallest amount. I feel like this formula from Ritual Defeat is so good. One thing to keep in mind with both the blush and the highlight from this brand is that they do have essential oils. So if you are allergic to essential oils or you don't like fragrance in your products, those are definitely very heavily scented. Last products I have for you are all liquids and creams. All right, I'm gonna start with this. This is not a new formula. This is the So Soft blush from M, but they came out with this shade this year. This one is called Demure. Look at this. This is everything my kind of desaturated, slightly pink, slightly beige heart wanted. I've been trying to blush less. Like when I got into this shade this spring, I was like, yeah, and I was like, okay, it's a little much, take it down, take it down. And when this shade here released, I was just head over heels. This is one of my all-time favorite blush formulas, but this new shade in Demure, chef's kiss, wore it nonstop. And then Charlotte Tilbury did something that I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but oh my goodness, this was fantabulous. This is the Matte Beauty Blush Wand. This is the shade Pillow Talk. Okay, I know. Pillow Talk is that shade. Okay, this is what it is. That we're all kind of like, can you find a new name? But I get it. When it's blended out, it is the most beautiful, majestic. And it's not too cool and it's not too warm. It goes with almost everything. I like that it's matte. I like that it's liquid. I feel like this is the only, I've tried the contour wand, I've tried the highlight wand. I don't usually like this kind of sponge applicator. I don't hate it for this because I can put one dot on there and blend it out. But I feel like when I do that with the other, I don't know why it's different for this. Maybe it's because it's newer and it's not quite as gooey. I haven't had it for like a year and a half, but This is actually such a beautiful product. I would love to get more shades, but obviously I need more blush, like I need another hole in my head. All right, last two. I'm sure you're guessing what they are if you've watched any recent videos, but they're these guys. Oh my goodness. These Pillow Plush blushes from have just blown my socks off. I cannot stop reaching for them. This one here in Peanut, as you can see, not only does it have a giant divot, but look how dirty the packaging is. I'm wearing this one today. It's so pretty, but here's another one that saves me on those days when I need a cool blush and I'm like, what do I wear? I love these because these formulas, they feel like putty. They end up being so fabulous on the skin. You don't have to instantly blend them. Here's Peanut, here's Tickled, but they look so pretty. I mean, come on. Here's Tickled, here's Peanut. They're kind of like fluffed air. They go on like nearly nothing. I'm not saying they don't have pigment, because they do. They can be very pigmented, but you don't start off with like touching like this one from Danessa Myricks. You put it on, it's like, whoa, if you're fair like me, that's a lot of color. These build slowly, but they build, and then they last, and they never make my skin look dry. They never make my skin look textured, and because they are kind of like that putty blush formula, it looks more like skin than a powder blush. It's not too radiant, it's not too glossy, it's just perfection. These were the best blushes I tried this year. I feel like we're just getting down to eyes. Now, I did a full ranking of all the palettes I purchased this year. I will link it for you here, as well as the description box down below. And that's when I go from worst to first, talking about the palette that I like the least, the palette I can't stop obsessing about. There's 29 of them in there, so we're not talking eyeshadow palettes, but I do have eyeshadow singles, I have eyeliners, mascara, and the Soul Brow product that, and this comes down to I can't stop using it. It didn't wow me, but it's really good. And the fact that I reach for it so regularly, I would say half the time I'm putting on brow makeup, I'm reaching for this. And when you have as much makeup as I do, that says a lot. And it's from Make. This is the Blade line. I love this. This is a refillable package, so I do have another one of these waiting in the wings. It is a really interesting, slightly kind of thicker pencil, but it does kind of come in this dash mark, which is great for making like hairline strokes like this. You can also quickly, you know, fill in areas, you know, whatever it is you want to do. It does have a spoolie on the other end. It spoolies beautifully. The shade that I have here is Cool Brown, and it's my perfect shade. It's what I'm wearing in my brows today. I find that I default to this and a clear brow gel, whichever one is close at hand, but it's partly is the tone, partly is, you know, the shape of this kind of thin little pencil. And then the fact that the texture is perfect. It's not too soft, it's not too goopy, it's not too sticky, it's not too waxy, it's not too dry. It's kind of like the Goldilocks of brow pencils. This really impressed me this year. There are 3 shadow singles that really surprised me. The first one that I fell in love with this year is this one right here from RMS. This is one of their Eyelights. They came out with these a while ago. I never tried them when they first came out, but I've been trying a lot of RMS this year. And I feel like this is one of those that makes sense to put in this little kind of like aluminum packaging. This is a metal tube. This is one of those that one eye at a time, you know, work one eye at a time, but once you have it blended in, it doesn't go anywhere. It stays all day. It is fantastic. It washes off. It's, you know, it's not waterproof, but it's one of those that once it dries down, you don't have to worry about it smudging. I picked up 3 shades, and this cool toned one here in Strobe is the one that I use the most. The other one that I really like is this one here. This one's Flare. It's definitely a warmer tone, but they're just like so easy to use. All you need is like a finger to blend them out, and they're beautiful and metallic. They don't bring any added texture to my lids. The other shade that I have is this one right here. It's called Spark. It's a little bit more kind of like a deeper rose gold. This is definitely bronze and a little bit more pewter leaning, but they're just super easy. They're fantastic. I like the metal packaging for these. I feel like these are really, really nice. Another recent addition to my collection that I just can't stop reaching for, I'm wearing one of them today, are these eyewears from Victoria Beckham. All right, so these are they're your eye crayon. I love these. I am wearing this shade here. This one's called Trench. It's such a nice light shade. It also very easily blends in with the one in Pecan that I got, and I can get a 2 shadow look with this. You know, the lighter shade all over the eye, this darker shade along the lash line and in the outer corner, blend them in. You don't need to blend them instantly, but once they're blended, they don't go anywhere. That's what I like about these. They're so nice. They blend really nicely with a brush, with your finger, with whatever you have, and then they stay. They don't crease. They're fantastic. I feel like it's a little unfair to talk about these, but these surprised me so much. I'm wearing them today. I couldn't stop reaching for them. These little guys from Moira. These are the Starshow shadow pots. Okay, I will link my Moira video for you down below, but they really give me scattered light hourglass vibes, where it's kind of like a pigment that's in this little pot. And when you swipe it on, look at that. It is insane. And then if you continue to kind of blend it out, it could be a little bit less, but look at how insane that is. I have this very, very lightly tapped on my eye because I didn't want it to look like this. I didn't want to look like the Tin Man on my eyelids, but if that's what you want, you can get there. I got 3 of these shades. I can't stop reaching for them. I can't stop. My hand's always reaching for one of these. The other thing that's great about this is I can use my finger. It's super easy to just, you know, like, and go in. The other thing that I like about this is when they're set, I don't have continual fallout from these. If I overload my finger or I get too much on, I can have some that falls below during application, but once it's applied, it doesn't actually like crumble and get sparkle everywhere. I really like these. These are beautiful. And they're what, $7, $7.50? Totally worth it. I've been on a mission this year to discover the best eyeliner for the way I like to wear eyeliner. There were many years, late 30s to kind of about 45. There was about 6, maybe 7 years in there where I just quit wearing eyeliner because every time I did, I have a perpetually leaky left eye. I find that product kind of collects here in the corners when my eye waters. It eats through mascara, eyeliner, eyeshadow, foundation, concealer, you name it, it's gone. And I'll have kind of like sometimes a dime to a quarter size circle here with no makeup. It just like my caustic tears eat through everything. The other thing that I'm looking for is not just something that is going to be waterproof or tear proof, but also that I can put in my upper waterline and when I blink, it doesn't transfer to my lower waterline. Now I know that's a hard ask. I know that a lot of people will tightline both upper and lower waterlines. My eyes are on the smaller side. And so when I get stuff in my upper waterline and then it starts to transfer to my lower waterline, it makes my eyes just look smaller. That is not what I'm going for. So I'm always looking for something that gives that ability to stay where I put you, to be pigment, but then, you know, not to transfer, not to kind of smudge, not to smear. The first thing that I came across this year that I really liked, and if you were looking for a budget liner, look no farther. This is from LA Girl. This is the Ultimate Eye Intense Stay Auto Liner. All right, so it is a twist up liner. I always end up with a shade brown, don't be surprised. And she glides. It's a nice kind of dark brown. It's a cool brown. It's fantastic. I also like that when this dries down, it doesn't go anywhere. It's not quite dry yet, but I like that I can already, you know, kind of go over it with my finger. She's not moving. She's not budging. There is some residual sparkle from previous things I was showing you, but this is amazing. And this is like less than $5 at the drugstore. If you're looking for a good pencil liner at the drugstore that is a gel formula, this is going to do it for you. I did find that when I would put this in my upper waterline, there would be like about a minute before it fully set. And if I blinked, I sometimes would get a little bit of transfer, but nothing that a clean Q-tip, you know, run in the lower waterline to pick it up, then it's fine for the rest of the day. This was fantastic. I don't know why I kept looking for eyeliners after trying this. It's just like I couldn't help myself. I also made a purchase from Make this year and I wanted to try one of their liners. This is their Continuum Gel Liner. This is the first shade I got. This is the shade Gamma Ray. All right, so it's kind of like a metallic olive green. It is one of those that is adjustable. It twists up in here. It has a really tight fitting cap on it. And what's great about it is it has a sharpener in one end. And if you put the sharpener back in and take the cap off, you have this little tiny brush that you can use to kind of, you know, give yourself a little wing. I love this. This was so good. And this stays in my waterline without transferring below. I liked it so much that over the course of the year, I picked up 2 more. I can't tell you the last time I tried an eyeliner and liked it so much I got more colors. I can't tell you. Sometimes I'll be like, I'm curious, let me buy 3. I did that with Elisa Eldridge. Oh, not my favorite. They actually show up in the worst of the year. But these, I tried 1 and then I went back for a second and then I went back for a third. The one that I really like that's interesting and I like it a lot is this shade here in Celestial. It's like a really pretty gold shade, but I'm using it in my lower waterline today just to bring a little bit of light. I liked both of those so much. I'm like, you know what? I'm always looking for a brown. So I got the shade Nebula in brown. It's really a dark, dark brown, but these are those that you want to make sure you never leave the cap off. They will dry out, but these glide really nice. I feel like there are some other ones that I've tried this year that glide just a hair better than these, but these aren't tugging, these aren't skipping, these aren't hard, these aren't scratchy. They're beautiful liners. I think they're $22 or $24, and I think they're worth it enough to have bought them like 3 separate times. Love this liner. Now, the one that I discovered just recently that I'm obsessed with and I can't stop reaching for and I love so much, and oh my goodness, why did I not try it sooner, is this one. This is the One Size Point Made gel liner. This is the shade Busty Brown. This is the one I'm wearing today. She glides and she stays in the upper waterline. I can put it in between my lashes to blank out those little like skin toned gaps in between my lashes. This is fantastic. I feel like now that I've discovered these 3, why would I need anything else? But I liked this one so much, and I even haven't had it that long, maybe about a month. I liked it so much, I just recently purchased the black one. So if I want to wear black liquid liner or above, and I want black like in my upper waterline, I got this. This is Bodacious Black. These guys, when they dry, they don't budge. At all, at all. All of these formulas, the one from LA Girl, the ones here from Make, and these guys from One Size, oh my goodness. Best of the best. And it's what I'm looking for in an eyeliner, and I love that. I tried quite a few new mascaras this year. Some of them were new to the market, some of them were new to me. One of them that I really liked that was new to me, I think it came out last year. I really went hard for tubing mascaras this year. I love a tubing mascara, and one of the ones that I loved, I just finished up the one that I had and I had to get rid of it. I haven't repurchased because I'm up to my eyeballs in mascara, is the Cali Ray Come Hell or High Water. I feel like for a tubing mascara, it does exactly what I want. It lengthens, it volumizes, which some ones, I feel like some tubing mascaras either give you one or the other. This one's good at delivering both. It doesn't end up getting a little too spidery or a little too clumpy. What I like about the Cali Ray as well is that when you get it wet, it comes off in actual tubes. It just kind of like slides right off. There are some that come off in like little chunks, and as I'm continuing to like pull up my lashes, it doesn't all come off, and then I'm rubbing, and the next thing I know, I have kind of like grayish black smudges around my eyes, and then I need a different type of like makeup remover. I don't know that if you do that, that you can really call yourself a tubing mascara, but I like that it builds, it lengthens, it volumes, it separates, doesn't look gunky, it looks really beautiful. Not quite like uber dramatic, but a nice everyday lash with super easy removal. All right, the other ones that I really liked this. Okay, upside down. The Beauty Pie Wrap Star Tubing Mascara. I've repurchased this. I've got some for my daughter. She loves it, and it's got a really interesting wand. The wand looks like a weed whacker has been taken to it. Some bristles are longer, some bristles are shorter. You have a lot of that differentiation, and I think that it does a really good job of making sure that we deposit in some areas, we rake through in others, and as you continue to comb through, this is fantastic. This is a great tubing mascara, comes off really easily. This also gives volume and length. The only downside to this is you have to go to Beauty Pie to get it. Whereas with Cali Ray, you can order in multiple places. And I feel like for me, I'm always waiting to place a Beauty Pie order. So I, get over a certain dollar amount and I don't have to pay for shipping. I can't just go and say, I want, 2 mascaras, because that's not going to get me up over the price threshold for the free shipping. That's my only thing. And then it takes a while to get here. But if it wasn't for the shipping and the time, I love this mascara. My 15-year-old loves it. So, so good. All right. Don't kill me. This is the first time ever this year I was doing a tubing mascara showdown. I'll link it for you here, description box down below. I finally tried the liquid lash extensions from Thrive. I get it. I get it. This I feel is like the tubing mascara that everyone is trying to duplicate. I'm not in love with this kind of rubber bristle or silicone bristle wand. It's not my favorite, but I know that this shape with the short bristles deposit and kind of give you that nice long length. This gives me crazy length, crazy length. And this comes off so easily, so easily. This is amazing. I get it, it's worth it. It's a sort of mascara that when I run out of it, I'm gonna wanna get another one. It's also like super heavy. The component is so heavy, like you could throw it at someone and hurt them. Not that, don't do that. I'm just saying it's like substantial. She's fantastic. And the only traditional mascara that I fell in love with this year that I actually, even though I have a ton of mascaras in reserve in like my mascara jar, I did buy another one of these because it was so good. The one that I got at the beginning of the year finished, and then I bought another, and it's from Make. Oh my goodness, their lash prototype. Okay, I'm wearing this today. This gives me slightly gunky lashes. Now, I know that's not everybody's thing, but sometimes I want it to look like a lot. It gives volume. I do get length. I don't have the best lashes. My lashes are short. They point downwards. They are kind of stumpy. They don't really hold a curl terribly well. But this mascara, this builds, and this gives me kind of that slightly, and it's, I don't always want this look, but a slightly messy, clumpy lash. Love. At the right time, this is that. And another one of those components that feels very luxe and weighty. Like I feel like I could be like playing the drums with these. These are really nice and heavy. This is a beautiful component. And this is the luxury mascara that I've purchased at full price twice. It's like what, $26, $24, $26. For me, that says a lot. I really like it. It doesn't flake, it doesn't smudge. It is not a tubing mascara, so you do need like a balm or an oil cleanser to get it off, but I don't care. I love it. It's so good. Last category is tools. I don't remember when I finally discovered the AOA Super Soft Paw Wonder Blender. I'm never buying another beauty blender again. They used to sell this in a 10-pack, but shrinkflation is here even for our beauty sponges. So now they come in a pack of 6, but they are the best. I feel like the shape is exactly like a beauty blender when you get it wet. I feel like there might be a slight textural difference, but these last so well. I feel like they're just as bouncy, slightly more longer using. They don't tear as easily, and to me, that's a bonus. I love these. I always have one of these around, and my daughter and I plowed through our pack of 10, and when I went to repurchase, they only come in a 6-pack now. Last year was the year that I tried my one and only BK Beauty brush, and I loved it. I loved it. I started out with the A506 Angie Hot and Flashy Concealer Brush. All right. So earlier this year, I think it was around Mother's Day, they were having a sale, and I picked up a second one of these. So now I have 2. This is last year's, this is this year's. And when I was placing this order, I decided to get this teensy tiny little angled brush here. This is the 208. This is the best brush for like giving yourself just like a little bit of a flick. Let's say you have some gel liner before it dries, you put it right at the end and you drag it up, boop, instant wing. Or you get some off the tip of your liner and then you place it, perfect. Or if you want to go over like a liner with a little bit of powder, pick it up on this and kind of press it in. It's not going to get too much. I love this. These 2 brushes impress me so much that I'm like, you know what? I need more BK. This is the one brush I can't stop using. This right here is the 110. This is supposed to be their concealer brush. You could use it for concealer. I use this for concealer, and this I use for targeted powder placement, like right under the eye. It is so good. Corner of the nose, getting in my forehead lines, putting it just where I want it and not everywhere. This brush is exactly, I love this size brush, but I didn't know how, like everything about this is beautiful. The wood handle, the silver ferrule, these are in here really nicely. They wash perfectly. They are so good. And the other one that I love, and you can use it either as like a loose powder brush or a pressed powder brush, but I use it for bronzer. I know it's really big. And the reason I got this one here is the 105, is because I saw Khaki from Khaki Reviews Beauty using it for bronzer. And it's so large and so diffused when you pick up a little bit of bronzer and then you just kind of boop, boop, boop. It's like, it blends everything with just like a little boop, boop, boop. It's perfect. I love so much. This is fantastic. I'm glad that this one is still washed. I need to get back into using it. But this is one, it was like, it's not clean, but that's okay. I'll show it anyway. But I love these brushes. Last thing, I did not purchase these. These were gifted to me by the brand, but these make me want more. And these have been so good. I haven't used anything else since they arrived. And these are from What's Up Beauty. This is their like 6 brush kit. Okay, I love it. You get like a little pencil brush in here. You get one here that's good kind of like for packing. You get like this jumbo blender. Amazing. I feel like all of them, and they're all white goat hair. They're all white goat hair. The other thing that's really interesting is that What's Up Beauty does the same thing that Wayne Goss does, which is to make sure that it's cruelty free. So the hair comes from grooming. The animals get groomed. They use the hair for brushes. The animal continues to live a long, happy life. So the animal's happy and we get our natural hair brushes. I think that's amazing, but I'll tell you, just the softness of these brushes, they're so good. They feel like my Wayne Goss. They feel like my Sonia G. They're a very beautiful handmade in Japan brush, and they're just fantastic. They wash really well and they're super, super soft. This is the type of brush that I don't know that I would have ordered on my own, but now that I have them, I kind of want more. They're just fantastic. I can't get these liners off. It's gonna take some makeup remover. All right, thank you so much for watching today. I would love to know, what is the best beauty you tried this year? Was there something that you just couldn't stop reaching for? Your hand like automatically reached for it every time it was time to do your makeup. I want to know what that is. And it doesn't have to be a new release, just something that you discovered for the first time this year. Because not all of these are new releases for 2023. They're just new to my collection this year. I want to know what your best of beauty was. Thank you so, so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my ranking video of worst to first, all of the eyeshadows that I purchased this year, and later, before the end of the year, I'm going to come out with my best and worst lip products. Thank you so, so much for watching. Have an incredible day, and I will see you again soon.